Hey, this is G Allastrology here, and this is the Sagittarius October 2019 video. Thank you for joining me, and I want to touch on some of the energies for the month of October for Sagittarius risings. If you do not know what your rising sign is, go down below, comment your birth info, and I can find that out for you. We'll take care of you, okay? In this video, I'm going to cover the month of October, which is talking about the full moon in Aries at 20 degrees, and then we have a new moon in Scorpio at like 4.5 degrees at the end of the month, okay? You want to stay tuned because the end of the month, there's not just a new moon in Scorpio. Actually, it's a very big, choppy end of the month. There are some rough waters, and I would want the guidance. So keep your ears close, keep your antennas high, and let's dive in. Here we begin with October 13th. Full moon is at 20 degrees Aries, and that takes place in your house of romance, okay? Your house of romance, children, joy, creativity, risk-taking, entertainment. All those areas of your life is where the full moon is going to be. Now, at that time, we have a feminine, me and that word, feminine energy, which is the asteroid Eris. And so what that means is there is a more feminine quality. If you're an artist, there'll be more of like this divine feminine essence to your work, okay? You also would be probably likely very passionate in terms, if we think about the fifth house is creativity in general. It's also the house of procreating, right? Procreation. It's the home of, well, romance. It's the home of let's have fun together physically, right? Because the fifth house is also the house of being athletic. Well, when you talk about romance and athleticism, okay, that's lovemaking, right? So keep in mind all of these things. Keep in mind you're going to have a full moon there, okay? Keep in mind that a full moon is a heightened sense of emotions, all right? You'd want to know this in advance, okay? This is for Sag risings. Now, keeping in tune with the feminine energy that I talked about, and keeping that in mind, this may give you stirrings, mother stirrings, ideas and essences and feelings and permeations of, do I want to be a mom? You know, you might surprise yourself. You might be thinking, maybe I want to be a mom. You may be finding things about motherhood that seem enjoyable, or you might have this sudden passion or desire. And it might be fleeting. It might be just on that day of the culmination. It might be you have a moment with somebody else's child and you're holding someone's baby in your arms and you're just like, oh my God, I think I might want to do this, you know, maybe, you know, or maybe you're already a mom and it's the opposite. It's okay, I'm so done being a mom, you know, but things around motherhood in a way, okay, things around motherhood. But what else is a branch off of motherhood, off of the motherhood tree? A branch on it can also be, what do I want to create? Like for me, I always knew I never wanted to have children. That was a no-brainer for me from the get-go. But as far as creating projects, what's my next little creation gonna be? You know what I'm saying? Like that would totally be me. I could understand that. And that's relevant. That totally applies to this as well. All right? Now you just want to be careful at this time that because of the passion and the ferociousness in the energy, the fiery moon, it's an Aries full moon, so it's fiery. It's going to be opposing, right? Aries is about me and self and what do I want. And that feminine quality. So again, when we talk about feminine, it's things that think about the moon, think about the sign Cancer, think about the divine feminine. It's nurturing qualities, it's family, it's home, it's my inner emotional world where I go to feel safe. children, right? So all these things, like what did I need to feel safe as a child? Anything that has to do with that could be things that come up, all right? And things that you'll be emotional about. So be aware of this. Knowing is more than half the battle, as they say, okay? Now, this will be opposing, right? The full moon's going to be here in your 5th house. The opposite of that is going to be Libra. And opposite in that energy of Libra is where the sun is going to be. That's where, and where it is right now. And where Mars is going to be. And this is important. Mars is a strong planet. It's also passionate. So we're going to have strong inertia and passions and desires here, and we're going to have them here. Okay? It's a great opposition. I'm being pulled in this way, and I'm being pulled in this way. So you got to understand that. You got to understand that being in Libra, it has to do with significant one-on-one relationships. You get it? So it's me, myself, and I, and all this mother stuff I talked about, and creating and procreating and fun and romance and children and joy. And then the just as strong energy at the other opposite end is significant one-on-one relationships. You get it? And Mars and the sun being there. So now I've just kind of, without even having to say, you know, it's be careful. Be careful. You have a lot of energy that on both ends, it's about spending one-on-one time with another human being, you know, and it being physical, all right? The thing for you, though, is that, luckily, this is a good thing, where your Mars and the sun are, where you're going to feel that other opposing energy that's really strong, it's going to be in your 11th house. So if it's in your 11th house, that means circles, that means friends, that means groups. So that's good. So when I talked about your 5th house stuff, which was all about one-on-one time, having a good time, but physically, and you know, that whole physical fun with bodies. Luckily, the opposing energy is in groups. So what does that mean? That means that's your way out. That means that if you're in a group and somebody singles you out and it's just like, hey, you know, you want to go and do this, you want to go do that kind of thing. If you're not married and if you're not looking to have babies, if you're not looking to have children, stay within a group. It's a safe way to be in a group and to have a good time and to have fun, okay? You're gonna really be pursuing friendships, but you're gonna be pursuing one-on-one relationships within that group of friendships. You know, you're gonna be finding people within the group where, you know, you're gonna link up with people who have thinking and just like they're gonna resonate more deeply with you. But keep it in the group atmosphere, only because when I say safety, I don't mean danger. I mean safety as in don't get pregnant. You get my drift? And if you're a male, I mean, you can still have babies, right? If you're a responsible male, you're still having babies. You don't want to have a baby. It's the same advice, whether you're male or female, okay? Because men can very easily have the same urgings of, do I want to be a dad, right? Same thing. So you're using this time to be thinking. Now let's move on to the latter part of the month. The latter part of the month is the new moon. It happens on the 28th. I'm going to repeat this last part. I'm going to back up for a second. If I didn't say that the October full moon was on the 13th, it is on the 13th. But now we're going to move ahead. So we're moving ahead to the 28th of October. And at the 28th of October is where the new moon occurs for Scorpio, the new moon of Scorpio. Now, the new moon of Scorpio is going to be occurring for you, and it's a powerful one because here's the new moon of Scorpio, an exact opposite of Uranus, okay? So for everybody right now, there's something, a degree of themselves that is coming out. It's like a divine degree of themselves. It's about freedom. It's about, this is a part of me that I never really allowed to come out before. And so I'm giving this example where it's part of our ego burning away, dissolving, and part of our soul coming through. And a real part of us, our soul meaning what we came in this life to do. Part of our soul's work is going to become more relevant, more prevalent, it's going to come to the front of our awareness in a way that it hadn't before. I think a lot of us are already experiencing that, where it's like, yeah, I'm really, really right this time, or I'm really, really sure. I'm very certain this time. This is it. This is it. And you're right. This is it. This is what you came to do. It's kind of like service to humanity. How can I contribute to the whole with my special, unique abilities? Because that's what Uranus is, unique. Uranus is the originator, the inventor, my unique self. How can I contribute to the whole with who I am as I am? When I let that part of my soul peek out and let the ego and the fears dissolve. Okay, so that's what you're going to be looking at. And you're also going to be looking at a few other things. We all are. There's a Saturn and a Mars square that's coming up. This is going to happen in your, going back, it's going to happen in your groups of friends. So that cohesiveness you had earlier in the month, the friendly stuff that was going on, where you were communicating actually really well and had just a smooth sense of rhythm in touching in with large groups of people, like with your group, with your tribe, there's going to be a square set up, which means it's going to take a little bit more work. It won't be as easy as it was in the beginning of the month, which means instead of it taking 4 or 5 steps to do something, it's going to take, 10 steps. It just means more work and more finesse involved, and being careful as to how the communication's going in. And this is going to be, the tension is going to arise out of something that you value, your sense of what is of worth. What do I value? And so that might clash with what the group values. And so you may have to reevaluate, how does that work? How, what kind of things can I do to assimilate, but yet keep myself and what I value prevalent in my life, and allowing others to have their own values. We each can have things that we value that don't have to be identical, but yet we can still coexist. I would also give you a heads up to things in regards to government and work and business, money, and spending. You might find yourself maybe spending money on things that you value towards the end of the month. I also want to make a mention to the Mercury retrograde that's coming on the 31st. It's October 31st. It lasts for like 3 weeks. We all have to experience this. Your Mercury retrograde is going to be occurring for you in that house of friends. Okay, so in that house of your social circles, you want to kind of just, it just means you get to spend more time working on making things more cohesive and more harmonious for the group, which is good because you actually love the group. This is where you shine. You like having an audience, so to speak. You like being able to be within a group and being able to strike up significant individual relationships within that group. That's one of your gifts. You can very easily hone in on somebody and pick up on their needs and pick up on their thoughts and their desires. And so this is going to give you, Mercury retrograde means we have to slow down and we have to dot the I's, cross the T's. We have to redo things sometimes. And so we'll be all facing this. With that, that is the end of the with the Sagittarius October 2019. Thank you.